Hi friends, it's Pam with Silver and Sparkles. And I just can't even begin to tell you guys how happy I am that I feel like I am officially in fall craft season. So with that in mind, I have another digital kit for us, but I also am using in this project a bunch of the papers that are in the sample packs, or I don't know, the ephemera packs that I put in my Etsy shop recently. So anyway, I'll tell you about that as we go. You can use any papers you have, any kit you have, and make this your own. I really like how simple this one came together. Let me show you what I used for the cover, actually, because I just have a whole bunch of them. It's just the craft cards, and you could just use cardstock. You don't have to have these, but they're already scored, and it's for card making, right? So to make a 5x7 card. So my journal is 5x7. I did round the corners because I just wanted to make it look a little different. And with the paper, I oriented this journal to open this way. So let me just flip through it, and then I'll show you the new paper kit, and we're going to make one. So I believe there is good in the world. I got a request for some of these sentiments, and I did not handwrite them this time, but I used some different fonts, so I think they're cute. It says, "It is okay to start over and build a new life." And I just love this little embellishment I made. We may make one of those. It's so cute. I put the word trust, some journaling space. This is some of that paper from my doll book, and again, that's in those ephemera packs and is a piece of sheet music, right? And it says, "Today is full of possibilities," and that's some of the fabric that's in that kit. It says, "Be kind." Peace. This is some of the book page in that kit from a gardening book. "You are seen, you are heard, you are loved." And I put the word always right there. Again, I just love how this one turned out. Journaling space. "I see the best of you, a tender heart, a beautiful smile, a brilliant mind, a thoughtful soul." I had this in a project I did recently, and I thought, believe these truths, right? Shine. I added some lace. There's some faux lace on this pocket, which is really cute too. This is the doll paper. "You can make hard decisions." Faith, right? I just love all the fall leaves. Love this shape pocket. It says courage. I didn't do much to that one. You are not alone. Making brave. And I didn't cover this up because, oh my gosh, that cow and these dolls, so cute. Another one of the larger trees. And then at the end, I choose to forgive. I choose joy, right? So it's kind of like someone telling us, these sentiments that, I believe there's good in the world and it's okay to start over and all of these things. And then you are seen, and I see the best in you. And then at the end, after you've hopefully believed all these truths, you're able to say, "I choose to forgive and I choose joy." Anyway, I love it. I think it is a wonderful size. We could cover the back if we wanted to, but I didn't think it was necessary. I just love all the little ribbons sticking out. So this was easy to make, and we're going to make one today. So let me set that aside real quick. The kit is called All the Fall Leaves, I think is what I called it. It's in my Etsy shop. I will link it in the description. There's a digital kit and a print and ship option. So here are the sentiments and the words. Love how that turned out. Let me show you again, though. Actually, this is like my 2 different Canon printers. Isn't that strange? And then settings can change the colors too. So when people say it looks different on the screen and different printers will have a different result, they're not kidding. It's no joke. So, get to know your printer and then see what you like, right? Okay, there's a page with these fun pockets. This shape pocket, it's some circles, more pockets. These are the little, they're like 2-inch squares with rounded corners that I made that fun embellishment with. So there's that. And then there's 2 pages with trees and leaves that are these are like kind of collage-y papers, which I love. So, and this is what I used, for the cover. And then there's 2 pages that have the 4x4 kind of coasters I used to make my tags, but there's just so many options with this shape. 2 of them I went ahead and put a word on, joy and hope, but the others you can add whatever word you want, right? Or you can glue something over top of that one if you don't want that word. And then there's several full pages that I think I, cut apart and used in all different kinds of ways for the size journal I made. Isn't that pretty fabulous? But for a large size journal, or if you're going to do a gratitude journal, something like that, these pages I think will be fun, and they're already collaged. And then I did a couple of pages kind of with the torn strip. And here's the thing, you can turn them any way you want. So there's really no direction to these. So whichever side you want the little strip on. And I even used some of these pieces in the journal that we just made. And then there's also backing papers. I think 2 different ones I did. It's just another set of that. Okay, so it's 20 pages in total. All right. I don't think I'm going to need any of these, but I have them in case I do. I tried to do quite a bit of prep for this one because I wanted to have time to embellish and talk and not have to think quite as much and all of those things. So I've done quite a bit of prep. So here are some of the pages that are in those kits I was telling you about. It's kind of a mixed kit. It's got buttons and a little bit of fabric, things like that in it. So if you're interested, I'll try to remember to link that in my Etsy shop too, but it's easy to find. So like I said, for the cover, I'm using a piece. If you're going to cut your own, mine's it makes a 5x7 card, and it's not perfect because this one is not quite 10 inches, but you would want your paper to be 10x7, and then just fold it in half. You can score it if you want to. Mine are already scored. And I tend to fold it back both ways and then decide which way I think it's taken out the best. Okay. So I really liked mine with the rounded corners, so I'm going to do that again. And I rounded all 4. So you could just do the bottom ones if you wanted to. And for the inside pages, I cut the book page and the sheet music stuff that I'm using. These pages, they're each approximately 9.5 by 6.5. And again, they may vary a little bit. This is the only piece that I was a little worried about how fragile it might be. So this one, the sheet music, so if you're using some book page that is a little fragile, I've done this plenty of times, but again, I'll show you guys. I just put a piece of washi tape, and I go ahead and do both sides, just like that, so that, where did I fold it? It's hard to see because I haven't inked it yet. There it is. Okay. There we go. Just to reinforce it, it's not super duper fragile, but it does crack a little when I fold it in half, so I decided better safe than sorry. And then I did end up layering it some. I didn't want to cover up all the fabulous vintage paper, but I did really enjoy the layering, excuse me, with this kit. So, okay, so mine is only 4 pages, and you could add more pages to yours if you want to. I decided for me and the size journal I wanted to make that, let's do that, 4 was enough. I love this doll paper. It's the doll book. All right, and then we're just going to decide what order we want. And obviously some of the pages, some things are going to be upside down. You have to decide, are you okay with that? I'm okay with that, doing it the way I'm doing it. You don't have to use book page, obviously, for your pages. You could choose to do it this way. You could choose to, I want that to be a journaling spot, so I'm going to do it like that. You know, use some coffee dyed paper, some ledger paper, scrap of paper, you know, whatever. And you could even use, you know, cut the pages from the kit down if you decided to do that. Now, I stacked all these together, and I want to go ahead and round the corners because it will be much easier to do these one at a time. Now, I did not obviously prep all of these pages, but everything else I pretty much already cut to size, rounded the corners, inked, so that then it's just getting to pick, you know, like ribbon and which words and which sentiment, that kind of thing that I want to use. But you'll get to see me layer everything and put it all together, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas. You know, if you're new, there might be, you know, more things that you haven't seen before, but, you know, if you've been making journals for a while, you probably, you know, are familiar with these techniques. Okay, I think I put these in a different order. Let me do it like this. Okay, now it is easier to ink before I sew this in, and I don't know why I didn't ink these, or at least get them started. I'm going to do just some light inking on these pages simply because everything else is inked, so I would like them to, you know, kind of go together. So if you are enjoying my videos, I hope you are. Please make sure you give me a thumbs up. Drop me a comment. Let me know how you are. You guys are so sweet. Some of you, like almost every day, right? Leave me comments. Y'all are just really, really kind. And I like knowing you're out there. And when you have ideas, I like when you share those with me. It was funny. I was struggling with my mat moving when I was doing the haul video from the Hillsville yard sale, and I got suggestions, you know, and help with that. They're just, you know, it's just so nice. So keep them coming, everybody. And if you haven't already subscribed, I hope you will subscribe and join us. We have a lot of fun. All right. All I'm going to do is clip these together and quickly do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Now, with it only being 4 pages, you could lay this if you wanted to. If you use your sewing machine to sew, you easily could sew this one. It's not hard. All right, I am going to, you know, I'm just doing an approximate in the middle, like right there, and I'm gonna come up, I don't know, like 1 1/4 inches there, and I don't know, that looks about right. 3 holes, and get them punched or poked. And if you want to fast forward through this part, unless I say something witty, you're not going to miss anything. I'm just going to sew this together. And I have some wax thread. Now, last time, I used about 3 lengths of the height of my signature. Last time I sewed it, so I tied it inside. And then I started thinking after I'd done it, and it looks cute, you know, it's fine. I think, yeah, I just tied a cute little bow there. But it might be fun to have the strings on the outside of this one. So I'm going to do that this time. If you want to tie the bow and have your strings tie on the inside, start on the inside, right? If you want to live a little like I'm going to do today, I don't do this that often, I'm going to start from the outside. Most of the time I want mine on the inside for some reason. But start in the middle on the outside if you want to tie on the outside. And then I'm going to come through the top hole and, you know, leave enough to tie with. Skip the center hole. We're going to come through this bottom hole. And now we will come back through the center hole, okay? And I don't want to split my thread, which I tend to do sometimes. Okay, there we go. Now, I explain this every time I do it in case someone's new. You have this string here, and you want one tail underneath to the left and one tail underneath to the right. Make sure everything's lining up so that when you tie this, I do 3, you are tying on top of that string. Okay. Oh, oh my goodness. It would be nice if I had a better place to put that, but it's okay. Now, my journal, pretty sure I did this where those dolls are upside down. I don't know how I feel about that. I was wanting this so that I can just put something here, and that can be another journaling spot. Oh, it's okay. The little dolls, I'll end up just probably layering over them. Okay, it's all right. A lot of things are upside down. Okay, but I have this cute little face there, and I have this little doll here, so it's all good. Now, we have the option if we want to do a bow, if I want to add, like, tie some little charms. I have lots of different options of what I can do with this string. For right now, I'm just going to tie a bow and leave it long while I think about it. Now, for the cover, I took one of the there's 4 in the kit, one of the trees that's been, collaged for the cover just because I think it's beautiful. And I am inking, and today I am using my walnut stain. I don't think I mentioned that. I think I just like the darker stain with these papers that have these rich fall colors. And I hope I'm not overwhelming anybody, especially my design team, because I've had quite a few new kits come out lately, but I just love fall, and I'd gotten requests, for a Halloween kit, and I tried to do that fun little vintagey one, and I had already done my autumn charm kit, which I love, and it's got lots of pumpkins and those types of things, but I'm really intrigued, by trees and leaves and all of that. And I don't know, I just really wanted to do this one. I have another one that I've been playing with. I don't know if I'll get it finished for this season. Maybe. That's, again, a lot of leaves and trees and botanical kind of sketches. So we'll see. All right, now, on my prototype, I used, let me grab it, a little piece of this burlap, and again, I put an offcut of this in those kits, so we're going to use a little piece. It does like to fray, and I just, once I kind of got it to the size I wanted it, I was letting it fray some. I just made sure I got glue up under there really good, so I think it's stable. Now, I don't know if I'm going to leave this big. I think I'm going to do this one similar because I kind of liked the order I ended up doing the sentiments in. Now, some of them I used as they printed out this size. Some I tore a little smaller, and this one I am going to tear a little smaller. Now, I did choose to print these on just a copy weight paper. I normally, print almost everything, my ephemera included, on the 90-pound cardstock. Excuse me. But I knew I was going to be doing a lot of layering, and I wanted to make this just a touch smaller. I wanted to do a lot of tearing, and I just thought, let's try that. So that's what I did. But whatever you print on will be fine. None of these are going to be like a standalone piece. They're all going to be layered. So I wasn't worried about them being on the cardstock. Now, I really like, the idea of just having a little bit of this peeking out. And and not covering up too much of the tree, right? So that was kind of the other thing. I didn't want to cover up too much of that branch. Okay. I think that'll work. So hopefully I got that about where I needed it. A little bit off. That's okay. The finger tool is pretty amazing. All right, I am going to use the hot glue for this just to, again, make sure it sticks really well to that kind of burlappy stuff. Yeah. Okay. Now, a button would be cute here. You know, we could keep going, but for now, like I said, I'm doing this one pretty similar to the prototype. Okay, so I did put an image here. Now, I haven't really looked to see how all of this is going to look together. I just went ahead and cut out a bunch of the pockets. I cut this piece to be like a side load pocket. This is just a strip that's on one of the pages that I thought I might use. Another pocket. And I did go ahead and mount 4 of the 4x4 squares on some craft cardstock so that it's ready to go. And then I have these. Okay, these layering papers. So I'm going to just pick one. Oh, I cut that pretty small. Maybe I wasn't paying attention when I was cutting. Normally, what I did with this one, I think I cut all my papers wrong. This is like 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. Guess what I did? Oh, it's because I cut them to be the size for these pages. I did not pay attention to leaving one larger for this cover. So remember I said, I probably won't need these. Look, we have them and we can choose. We can choose one. So let's pick one and we'll cut it real quick. Or maybe this one. Okay, so I said 6 3/4 by 4 3/4, and then I just round the corners. So best made plans, but there's always a way to fix it. I didn't want that much of the craft portion showing, so that's why we're at this point. Okay, so this is the 6 3/4, and now I need 4 3/4. Yeah, that'll be cute. I'll save these. I'm probably going to make some fun, I've already been thinking about it, some fun scrappy pads, because I have a bunch of offcuts now from this kit, and I just think that'll be fun. I haven't made those in a while, but I think they're cute. And depending on how you top them and embellishment them, you know, they really can end up looking quite special, I think. Okay, that makes me happier, and I'm just going to glue it down. So I think what I'm going to do, since I do have most of my papers prepped, or I hope I do, we're going to just do a bunch of layering, and then we're going to come through and put our, I already did the sentiment on the front, but then put our sentiments in. We'll add our extra words. We'll do the layering of the different ribbons, that type of thing, ribbons on the cards, all that fun stuff. But for now, I'm going to just kind of stay with this. So I kind of like seeing some of the paper. Some of these are a little bit larger, some a little smaller. I'm going to go ahead and just put one like this on, knowing I'm going to jazz it up in a little bit. The other thing is it does give it a little bit of, you know, thickness there. Let me see what I did. I'm trying to remember. Not that it matters. I know I don't want to cover up this little dolly. So, the doll. What I may do is pick one like this for up here. And then I'll either use an offcut, because sometimes it really does depend on what your papers look like what you want to do. Okay, so, or I might be able to use this strip I talked about. You know, we could just do a fun torn edge. I know I'm probably not on camera. Okay, a fun torn edge. All right, and I think I said I wanted these to be approximately 6 1/4. And because the corners are rounded, we will round the bottom corners. Now, this can turn into a pocket, or I really don't want to cover up that sweetheart, so I am going to just glue this down, and we'll add a word, or maybe this is where the sentiment will be on this page. I don't know yet, but we can add some ribbons, some different things. But this would easily make a pocket, and honestly, I could have glued it down that way to have that option. Didn't mean I had to put something in it, but very cute, right? Okay, it's gonna look fabulous as we keep going. Just kind of reminding myself a little bit about what I did. Oh, I do want to use a little piece of this fabric because, again, I included this in those little ephemera packs. So I kind of wanted to show you some of the things you might choose to do. So I just cut this approximately the size of a page, and I'm going to just, you know, they won't be perfect, but my corner rounder will not punch through this upholstery fabric. My big chomper one might, but you know what? I'm okay. I am okay. Oh. And this is quite thick fabric. Now, I love the flower. I will probably end up putting one of the sentiments right there. That's what I did on the other one. So let's just get that glued down. And I love to also stitch, you know, on my pages and things, but I didn't on the prototype, so we're just gonna stay with that, but some stitching around this would be really pretty, wouldn't it? Okay. Okay, did that. I'm just kind of peeking. Not that I can't do a different order. Yeah, what I don't want to do is just keep layering pages and then forgetting that I have all these fabulous pockets and things like this too. So we're going to do one of these. Right there. Now, this, like I said, is a little fragile, so this is definitely a good candidate, even though I don't really like covering up all of my sheet music, because I put that pocket on the other side. I need to be aware of that. If you really don't want to cover up your sheet music and you used it, which is great, you know, don't put like a pocket. Just maybe add a little embellishment or something so it's not having to hold up quite so much. But that looks great, so that's fine. And then I have quite a few of these pockets. I was thinking, which one do I want to use? And I also have this, but it's like the same paper, so let's not do that. Let's do this one. No, this is my journaling spot. Never mind. We're going to put like a piece of ribbon or just a scrappy piece right there. So we're going to leave that. Okay. All right. Not a big fan of upside down dolls. So I'm going to put this here, and we'll again do a fun ribbon or something across there. And then on this one, maybe we'll just do a tuck spot right here, because that way you don't have to worry about it falling out when it's closed. So I want to put it to this side to cover up my upside down baby dolls. So I'm going to hold it on this side and add glue to 3 sides like that. There we go. Okay. Now, okay, I want to use one of these. Oh gosh. Just can't decide what I want to do. And I also see like this is the correct orientation. So I'm really liking that. So right now I kind of want to just leave that. I think what I may do is put this journaling spot here. And maybe we will make one of those fun embellishments to hang on this page. Or, you know, to put here with the little dangles. So we'll do that in just a minute. All right, this has now been reinforced, so not too worried about it. Let's use this one here. How many pockets have I done? I know I think I've done 3 if you include the tuck spot. So let's get this one. I definitely want another one of these. And by the way, I did round this corner too, and you cut it off or cut it out. It was a, you know, a pointed corner. So again, if you like the idea of it being rounded like the pages, then you may want to do that. Just a thought. Oh gosh, it's so cute. So, y'all are going to laugh at me, and I'm going to really try not to get anything unless it's super, super duper special. But, oh, and I have one of these left too. The, oh, and this is one again where I didn't really cut it to the right size. The, let's put this one up here, and I'm going to do something different here. Okay. Get your thoughts together, Pam. The Church of the Redeemer, which is one of the Catholic churches right around the corner from our house, has an annual yard sale, and it is huge. It's like all the families in the church, and you know, they save their stuff all year, and they cleaned out grandma's house, you know, whatever. So it's always like really good stuff. And I go every year. Of course I do, right? And very exciting. We're going to use one of these. So it's this weekend. And my husband said, well, we can go. It's Friday and Saturday. And he's like, well, you know, we can go. And I'm like, we've been doing so much flea marketing, going to the flea markets, yard sailing, all of that. It's just so funny. And I don't know what I want to do. So 4 3/4. And then this is going to be 6 3/4 this way. I kind of like the little lace piece there. So anyway, that is this weekend. And like I said, I'm going to try to be very disciplined and only get something if it's like super special, because I have been doing quite a bit of shopping lately, and it's so fun to have the opportunity to see all the vintage things. And somebody said, you know, holding history in your hands, which absolutely, right? And it's so fun, but I got to have time to make stuff with it. And of course, I also keep making digital kits because it's just so much fun. And so here we are. Okay, this one looks good to me. Here we are. So anyway, but I'll let y'all know if I do end up making any purchases. I think last year that's where we got this really, it's a vintage like wooden chair, and we got it from my daughter's apartment in New York because her apartment's small, and she just needed a little, you know, a little chair to sit in. And so that was a good find that time. And because it's right here at the house, you know, the idea of like buying a piece of furniture or something like that is not as overwhelming. Okay, let me show you how I made this fabulous, it's very easy, little piece of ephemera. And then I'm going to put it here, install it on this page. So I did use my ruler and I tried to space out my holes. And I did 6. No, did I 6 or 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 seems more reasonable. And I'm going to use centimeters. Don't get upset, simply because it's about 5 centimeters. So, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's 5 centimeters. Okay, so 2.5 would be the center. And then if I go about 1.5, 1.5, I'm just basically trying to mark where I'm going to punch the holes so they're approximately the same distance apart, okay? It's not, it doesn't have to be super perfect, because once I tie the ribbons on, you don't really notice, like, these aren't completely straight. Like right now we can see that, okay? They're not straight. But once I tie the ribbon on, you don't really notice. So I gave myself a little bit of grace on that. Now, on the first one, I also punched a hole, and I ended up just tying a bow there because I was thinking it would be fun as a dangle. And it would be fun as a dangle, wouldn't it? Like, it would be fun as a dangle. But I'm not going to do that. I am going to not punch a hole at the top right now and instead wait, and we'll see how I feel. All right, we're going to need those in a minute. So then all I did was I took a variety of pieces of the sari silk, and I didn't know how long I wanted them. So the original one I did 10 inches, then I gave it a big haircut. So let me think about this. I'm going to do these about 7, and we'll give it a haircut if we need to, but that way I'm not, using as much ribbon. Some of these I think I already have cut. I wasn't really going to make one of these on camera today, and then I decided I wanted to. So here we are. Okay, so that's 1. And again, I think I have some pieces. Yeah, like this was already cut, I think, to that 10 inch. But I'll just go ahead and chop a piece off. I like them to be a little more narrow. And of course, this is a tiny little project. So being a little bit smaller, I think, works. All right, let's do right there. I love this color. And doesn't it just scream fall, this green? All right, that's 3. It would have helped if I had planned ahead and gotten my ribbon ready, wouldn't it? Or I could have just used ribbon that was already naturally thin. The crinkled seam binding would be really cute too. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I need 1 more. That's too short. Let's use a piece of this, which looks like, I was like not sure, and then once I used it on the other one, I was like, oh yeah, I like that brighter kind of gold and burgundy. Again, I lived in Tallahassee for years, and so that looks a little bit like garnet and gold for the FSU colors. All right, I'm just gonna start putting them through. So then all I did, and I used the smallest hole on my crocodile, but I just looped it through, and I went from the back to the front. Again, you can decide, but I am going to do them all the same. Okay, it's okay that this was off because I'm not going to want them any longer than that. Then I do this one next. So you just tie each one on, and I just, I'm having fun trying to incorporate a little more fabric and texture and different things in my journals. Like I said, I'm really intrigued with that. But then I also like when I'm able to use the textiles for color as well, right? And so, yeah, it's just fun. Fun. I'm going to try to get around to this weekend. Like I said, I've got some more seam binding that I've been dyeing. Dyeing as in adding color to. And, some of the colors are similar to the sets that I put out recently just because they were so popular and I wanted more of those. But anyway, they'll be coming soon if you need some seam binding. And I mentioned in my other video, if you guys have thoughts or ideas about other like ephemera packs, especially given all the things I've recently acquired that you'd like to see, I do plan to do some more just straight up ribbon, vintage ribbon ones. But if you'd like to see some with some of the fabrics or with some of the photos and the papers, what is it that you're most interested in? And I will do my best to put some of those together. Oh, come on, fingers. All right. How cute, right? And I had already glued the word inspire on there. Now, I love the idea of gluing it here. And I don't mind if these kind of go out the side a little bit like this one did. But I don't want them this long. But I also don't want them to look perfect, right? So I am going to give a haircut like that. Like I didn't want them to all be exactly straight across. All right, I think that's good. Lots of little pieces. I'll save those. I may end up gluing them up under something here in a second. I did that with some of the others. All right, I'm going to use the hot glue just because I am. I did mount this little square, and again, it has the rounded corners, on some craft cardstock because I was thinking of having this like be a dangle, and I definitely wanted it to have some structure. Look how cute. Really would have been better to have the pocket over here, not have everything on this side. But, life. So I didn't really think all that through. Okay, let's go through and do our sentiments. So I really liked the order I put them in, so I am going to refer to this. So the next one was that I used, I really gave it a lot of thought. Whoops, as I was putting the prototype together. So now I don't have to think about it as much. It just seemed to make sense to me. And of course, you do not need to use all of these in one journal like I'm doing, but I wanted to, right? And I think these will be great just to use on tags, use on journal pages, to make cards for friends, letting somebody know you're thinking about them, all of those things. Okay. So I can put it up here in the collage and then again just do like some type of embellishment and leave this for decorate, for writing. And I do like having a lot of writing space. And I loved having all these little pieces of ribbon I glued in. So let's do that. We will put the sentiment right here. Okay. And then I'm just going to, and all I did was decided where I wanted to put it. And didn't use a lot, but just a little. And the sari silk is so thin that even if you, kind of get it up here in where the spine is, it really doesn't add too much bulk. See? Cute. And then we have little pieces that start to stick out. And if you don't like something that's sticking out, you can trim it off. I can trim this off a little bit if I don't want it. I tend to wait to trim them because I can see what else is going on. On this one, I think we're just going to pick a word and, I don't know, maybe a piece of ribbon or something. So let's cut out, let's cut out hope. Now, I didn't do a bunch of fussy cuts in this kit, which I love fussy cuts, but these can be fussy cut. You can fussy cut them. I put a little border around them. You can, again, tear them out. This was one, you know, if you wanted to print this on sticker paper, that might be cute. I'm also looking at these circles because this doesn't have too much going on. I may add a circle here with, okay, remember I said I have all these little pieces? Let's see what happens if I can get a few pieces together. I like to have at least 3 normally. 1, 2, 3. And there, I'm going to put it right there. So I'm just going to add a drop of the hot glue, kind of push it down a little. And then I just want to make sure I grab that little one. It didn't have much glue. All right. I think I'll put hope over here. Okay, so there's that. I'm gonna leave this for now. We can always add more later. All right, this one, what's the next sentiment that I wanna use? Get the right order. Today is full of possibilities. I'm gonna go ahead and tear that. And if I decide I want to tear them smaller, I can. I'm going to leave this one to kind of cover up that space there. A little bit of ink. The decorating, I have a lot of people tell me this is the part that you guys like. I mean, you like the projects, but you do like watching, just to, again, get your mind going and to think about different ways to use materials. And sometimes I feel like I'm in a little bit of a, ooh, that hurt, a little bit of a rut. And I have my little spatula here. Look at that. That I should use instead of my finger. Sometimes I feel like I'm in a rut, but I definitely have a style, right? And things that my go-to things that I like to use and enjoy. So I think that's okay too. All right, that didn't have a word on it. I was gonna grab a word. And what word did I use before? Hope. We're not gonna use hope again. So let's do, let me grab this sheet. Let's do believe. Because we're talking about today is full of possible. And you don't have to put a word on every page or whatever, but again, I am having fun just kind of going back through. And they're already collaged so fun, and then just adding my own layers and kind of making it my own. So that's fun. Okay, and I do have little tags ready to go that will add some ribbons and things to as well. But okay, so that was that one. All right, this one next. So I'm thinking I want to maybe put it here, but I don't mind covering this up. I think I'm going to leave that for now. Again, I might add some ribbon or something, but let's see what we've got. maybe just another little piece of ribbon. What do y'all think? Like right in here? I don't know if it needs to be quite this thick. I don't mind using, you know, the full thickness, but when I cut it, I have more, right? I have more. And so you still get that splash of color and texture, but then I still have some to use on another project. Pam, use your spatula. There we go. This left a big white piece, so I'm just gonna trim that off. And we're gonna put this right here. And I'll just use my regular glue for that. And then we still have all that space to write on. All right, this is a tuck spot. And maybe instead of another piece of ribbon like that, let me look and see. I'm looking at the offcuts I have laying over here. If we do a fun, like just a tear piece to put at the top. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to cut the edges so that I can corner around them to match the page. And I also, as much as I love using up the scraps of the ribbon, being able to use up some of these offcuts and just little pieces left is nice too, right? All right, so I'm thinking right here and right here, because that was a piece, wasn't quite large enough for the size of these pages, but I was already thinking it won't matter because I can add a little piece of paper or something to it. Whoa. That's what happens when you're trying to move a little fast. Not that I have to move fast, but I'm also not wanting to keep you guys here for a week. Okay, that's looking good. I'm trying to think. Ain't to the middle yet. Oh, this is the middle. Let's add another one of the sentiments. Which one do I need? Okay, I wanted to do the one that says, I see the best of you. So let's hope you guys can see what I'm doing. Yes. Get these torn. I may just go ahead and tear them while we're here so I don't have to keep grabbing my ruler, finding it in the pile here of scraps on my desk. And when something like that happens, I just clean it up in a minute. You can either lay your ruler back down or grab the scissors, do a finger tear, something like that. Okay, so this one I think is going to go. A lot of the sentiments ended up on the top page in the prototype, and I'm noticing a lot of them are ending up, you know, here instead, but that's all right. Okay, we'll put that there. All right. Now we are here. Now I didn't put anything here, and I think I was trying to decide what I was going to do. So we've got, the next one is you can make hard decisions. So maybe you could also do a little bit of writing there if you wanted to. Maybe I'll put it here, but we'll do another little tiny scraps of ribbon maybe coming out. Find another little one. Yeah. These would just end up, because they're not long enough to tear. I guess they could be stapled onto something. But I'm going to do this, and then you'll see what I'm going to do. This way they get used. And it adds some fun. And then I'm just going to use this glue for the rest of it. Sometimes getting the hot glue down quick enough when this is just copy weight paper is a little challenging for me. Not hard, but challenging. All right, I've got that. Just looking to see what all I've done. Yeah, it's looking cute. I've got the little washi there. Maybe what we'll do is I could grab another pocket, but I'm thinking I may just do a little circle. I don't know. I'm not sure what I want to do here. Let's grab this. I loved this one. Maybe we'll just do one. I haven't done one on the edge like that. So let's do that. I'm going to use the full thickness because I like how it's folding up on itself. All right, I am going to trim it just a little. There we go. Trying to learn from my mistake. I didn't really burn myself. It's just in the moment it kind of hurts. All right, I like that. Did I just glue my pages together? Please tell me no. No, I didn't. All right, I've got another one where, because I wanted to see this. I wanted to see it. All right, you can make hard decisions. What's next? You are not alone. Yeah, I think when I know when I'm talking to my kids and talking about, you can do hard things. You really can. And then reminding them, and you're not alone. Like, you can do this, and it's going to be okay, and you're not alone. And I just like to really remind them and emphasize that. Being an adult, when you're a young adult, but even as an older adult, as I'm getting middle age, right? Older than, not that I'm old, older than adult, it's hard. And there's a lot of things in life. And ultimately, though, especially once they kind of get to this stage, you have to let them decide, and you want them to. And you can, provide your thoughts, but it's ultimately they have to live with those decisions that they make. And sometimes that's one of the hardest things in being a parent, Okay, let's keep going. There's that fun one. All right, what do I have left? I have, You Are Not Alone. Oh, and then the I Choose to Forgive. So we have to decide where we can put that. I guess it just can go right here. And then we can decide if we need other embellishments, and I'm going to get the little cards put in too. So I didn't prep everything, but I did prep some, and I do think it helped a little bit with time. Let's put a word here. I know I have one right here too, but maybe, have we done faith? Let's do faith. La-di-da. And I went back and forth about adding, words to the different elements and pieces. And then I thought, I'm going to let people do that themselves. I did it on a couple of the 4x4s just because I did hope and joy, I think, on 2 of them. But the rest I left because I really did think it would be nice to personalize them yourself, right? Okay, so we are going to come through real quick and do a couple of ribbons. This one's already cut some. It's still a little thick, but we'll see. We'll see what it looks like. And these have been backed on some craft cardstock, so they are nice and sturdy. The 90-pound cardstock it really is okay for ephemera, but like if you're gonna pull a ribbon through like I just did, I easily, can tear it and those types of things. So I definitely like to I want to make sure that fits. It does. I definitely like to have it reinforced. Words. Sometimes words are hard. Let's do one that we staple. That'll be cute. I'm gonna put it right here. I like to do a variety of different ways of attaching ribbon and things like that. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, we need one here. I think I'm going to use this one because I didn't want that word and another word sticking out. All right, do I have another pocket? Let's see. Okay, it's okay to start over and build a new life. Today is full of possible. Believe you are seen, you are heard, you are loved. There's a tuck spot. I see the best of you. You can make hard decisions. You are not alone. Well, I guess I don't need this one because I didn't put another, I did not put another pocket in there. All right, this is sliding a little. So probably what I'm going to do once I'm off camera is I'm going to add a dot of glue to that, and I am going to go ahead and trim these. I was thinking about beads or something, but I think I'm going to just leave it for now. Okay, I hope you had fun and maybe are even going to make one yourself. They are similar, different trees, but I love them. Yeah, this was the prototype. This is the one we made together. I think it looks great. I love all the ribbon. Again, if I decide that's too long, all I have to do, well, these is just tuck them in there, right? There we go. But I do kind of like having them flying out. I like it. Okay, have a great day. Until next time, thank you so much. If you're still here, thank you. And have a great day. Take care.